Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're going to be taking a look at Street Dance Girl Fighter Season 1 excerpts from the final episode. This is going to pertain to their round 2 performances. Also, I'm very excited to show this because it is the last time we're going to be seeing some of these groups, and it's also a really great opportunity for us to see where they started to where they finished. And I just really very much enjoyed the entirety of the season. If there is a particular critique that I give or something in my feedback that seems a little bit strange or confusing, good chance it may have to deal with certain context I was addressing from earlier in the episode, because like I said, I've been doing full episode reactions to not just season 1 but season 2 of Street Dance Girl Fighter. So if you are intrigued about my interpersonal thoughts throughout certain dialogues or monologues that take place between members and mentors, you can check it out there. But let's go ahead and check it out. No, that's like the background they use to torment you as you do the steps. Nice. Fun. Love that. That was fun. Bah! That was really fun. Okay, so normally I don't say like a suggestion of, oh, they could have added this into it, because in this meaning, because I remember I did get a little frustrated at one of the judges from Street Dance China because he said Sala could have been utilized more. I got that, but it's not a justification of scoring. In this case, the reason why I'm going to say this is because they said that the song is most noted by Dance Dance Revolution. If you don't know this, with this song in particular, one of the tricky things about it, depending on the step chart you go with, and a step chart is the level of the actual arrows in the order of the arrows, because they are created by step artists, and it's a whole thing, a whole world that I will spare you for now. But what's interesting is that there is a particular step pattern on one of the step charts, I believe it's level 10 or 13. It introduces the concept of turning while you are doing the pattern. It goes do 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 do, that segment of the Beethoven virus, and you have to basically it is impractical to hit all of the steps without using one leg as a balance point on the center, on the yellow, and then hitting all of the arrows. So basically creating a full rotation in a turn. I think for me, that would have been a really nice addition to this set, especially if they knew this song if they noted that as one of the inspirations. So I think, I think that's just my only note. There's a good chance they made this whole set without it being an inspiration. They're just using the track and what it's known for. But that's just something that I just thought through whenever I was watching it. But I enjoyed it. It was fun. Do I feel like some of their concepts or some of their execution felt a bit forced to the track? Yes. But it doesn't discredit the fact that they worked really hard and it looks really nice on them. I love this boom. Now having them do a ball change to step around, it did feel like we do have tension in the center, but having that ball change kind of broke the tension for a second. Then we got right back in from those that bled from the back. Then this energy, boom, boom, have the speed changes between our two in the first two lines, boom, boom. I love that energy there. The tutting's really nice, but if you notice that some of their tuts, and this is something I've mentioned before, you want to be mindful of the tut in the knuckles in comparison to the finger. Some people like to hyperextend. You want to be mindful to make it a nice straight line when you're trying to connect. So that's just my overall note. You notice them. Some of them are overly curling, and that can affect the overall look of your tuts. But I appreciated the intention and complexity they went for. Bring this up. Boom, doom, doom. Da, 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 da. A lot of unison, do, 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 and 2 and 3, bringing it around. Now, as you've noticed too, for me, I mean, unison is great when it's properly placed and the proper amount of usage. Like, you don't overkill it and you don't do everything except unison. Like, you want to have it in your set no matter what, but it's just where you choose to put it and how long you choose to put it, and what you do to get in and out of it. So for me, it is nice to see the energy of that moment. They only did it for about a 4 count, so maybe I'll retract my statement of it being a little too much in the unison. They didn't quite do enough for it to be like a overkill section. It is nice to see. Bringing it through, dropping it down with a 2, and then dropping it from side to side. Bring it all the way around, boom, which I really like. Sliding it through. Notice the range was a little bit off with her, but not aggressive. It was very, very minimal. But also, I think my note for this would be these two are not quite making the same amount of contact with them the way that I think would make this feel more together, because these, whoa, that's too big of a circle. It's supposed to only circle my 5. This group of 5 feels really connected, and the reason why is because you can really see them plant their energy of their hands onto their fellow members, but here it feels like they're reaching a little bit more. So I think it could have been if we could have adjusted the formation slightly to allow everybody to have the same amount of energy in their connection. I think that would have really helped with this. I like that da 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 da. And I know that we introduced a new feature here. Do I feel like it may have interrupted ever so slightly the flow of this ripple that they were doing? Potentially, it could have just been the camera angle we were given. I love the slide through, this boom. I love this energy of the traveling with the slow and then the quick through. I appreciated that. Great uses of the feature. I liked that as well, doing a doon and doon, having the switches of the energy was really fun. With the heels, do 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 do, tip tap toe, love that. Diving it through with the little violin intention. I love the energy in the face. I think it works very well with the and then they go into that straight column. I really much enjoy that. Love this here. I love the placement of the hands. Notice that everybody's hands are carrying the same amount of essence between them all, and I'm very much a fan of that. Sliding it around, I really enjoy that. I love having this opposition with our feature with everybody else turning. I think that was really fun to see, and having that energy too of a da 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 da, and then having the energy push all the way to the other side. I think it's really enjoyable. But notice that with that locking, it just kind of felt more internal. Didn't feel like we were really pursuing that percussion as full as the potential of that could have been, especially because she was just by herself. If there was everybody doing it, it would make sense why it was a little bit more subtle, but noticing it was just her, it was a little bit harder to take note or notice a lot of her perspective. So that would just be my note for her to really try to go more extroverted in the execution of that locking segment because it was by herself and she was a feature. I like that there. Do. I like that. That was nice. Definitely on the cleaner side. I do appreciate that. This was cool. Having slow 1, speed change, bring it in, doom. Love that. With the wave through, do. Always a fan of a good wave. Bring it in. Now here, it was a bit trickier to see what they were going for with this going to the sides. I think it's because you have a group of 4 and a group of 3. So my note for this would be, honestly, I don't think I'd really give it a note. Maybe it could be a spacing thing, which could have helped with this, because notice the spacing is quite beautiful here, but it does feel a bit condensed here. Like it doesn't feel like we have the same amount of gaps, or this particular side is not as represented, like this direction, because a lot of people are kind of catering to a very similar look, but here it feels like we're hitting various diagonals. So I think that would just be my note, is to kind of frame these dancers out more, and maybe that would feel more spherical. Even though we are splicing it in half, you would still want to have some sense of symmetry even whenever you are branching in opposites on the diagonal. So I do understand. So it either could be my group that's on the left side with our extra feature, they need to really commit to the diagonal, the same degree of the diagonal. I actually mentioned this today with one of my groups that I'm working with. I told them, depending on your depth will determine your perspective. So what I mean by that is if everybody's supposed to look up and look at their own personal corner, not everybody's supposed to look at the same light in the room. If there's like, you know, ceiling, you have like the ceiling lights, right? And I can't tell everybody to look at the same ceiling light because everyone's head's going to look different. And if I want everyone's head to look the same degree, I have to measure the amount of depth between the different ceiling tiles. Sometimes I literally had to do this today. Look at the different depth of the ceiling tiles and be like, okay, my front line needs to look at that ceiling tile and literally point to it. And then I go to my next line. I'll go, okay, you guys need to look in this trajectory at this ceiling tile. And even though that does sound like Jessica, they're not going to have those ceiling tiles in competition, that's fine. We're building muscle memory. It gives them a sense of reference point, so every time they run the routine, they know where to look, and it's going to set them up for more success. So even when the ceiling tile's not there, they're going to be way better off there than if I force them to try to find this imaginary box in the sky. Do you know what I mean? So all that to say, where your group looks does cater, or it can influence the symmetry as well as the synchronicity of a position. And it's little details like that are tedious but effective if done well and stewarded effectively. That right there was really nice. Notice how everybody really branched out. That was super gorgeous. I love how she looked and had this switch happening behind her with the violin bleeding in with her. It's the not an add-on, but like the branching out the energy into something very stoic and still. I love those dynamic changes. Boom, boom. Very much a fan of that as well. Dropping it down. I love this energy here with the crossover. Honestly, that was very clean, except for what we're about to get into right here. I do feel like we were trying to go for something here, but not everybody was quite on the same page on the every other. But up until that point, beautiful on that ripple. I loved it. Or it's a canon. I love the speed changes. That was super cool. I love the opposition. And they were just spaced enough apart to where even though they end up touching near the tail end, everyone is equal distance from each other. The spacing looks great here. Ooh. Actually, now that I say that, of course I catch something as soon as I give a compliment to something. She is just off ever so slightly, but it's still nonetheless a wonderful formation. This part's really fun. Doon, 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 getting ready. Oh, I get it. Oh my gosh. Guys, I'm so silly. How in the world did I not reference this? Look, they're playing DDR right now. Look, they're holding the bar in the back. They're being the bar, and they're playing it right here. Oh my gosh. I should be disowned from the Pump It Up community for not catching that. I bet you that's probably the actual rhythmic pattern. But then they turn it into a little pot de bourrée out of that. Because I guess I was so focused on what makes this track iconic, which is the turning sequence put in step chart number 10 or 13. I completely disregarded the beauty of what they just did. Shame on me. Goodness. And that's what happens when you have expectations in your head and they're not met. You end up missing really important details. So I just learned a lesson there. I smited myself. I have learned. Hopefully I can minimize that in the future, but I'm human as well. I have expectations of things. I can't avoid it, but I'm glad I caught that now so I could truly appreciate what they ended up doing there. I love that. I love the punch, the unified front right there. Ba-da-da and a ba-da-da. Really fun to see. Da-na-na. Energy there. And it goes, bang, we finish. Really nice finishing of the conductor. This was really tasteful. They should score pretty decent here. My vote would be they would score probably in the 270s, right around Noonan's score, I think would be very appropriate for this because they showcased a lot of levels. I love the humor. The concept was honestly, it was very thought out. And I appreciated the paying tribute to Dance Dance Revolution, Pump It Up, but then adding a little house to it because house is a footwork style. So I love the collaboration between the two, and it made my little heart sing hearing this track in this way because normally I am just dying trying to get through it because honestly if you want a good workout, skip the gym, go to Dave & Buster's or go to your local arcade that has Pump It Up or Dance Dance Revolution. Pump It Up will really kill you because they got that extra, they got the corners and they got that center. Those step charts can be wild sometimes, but this is my little tidbit of what I sometimes do for fun. But anyway, this was really fun. They should score about in that range, I think. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to check out any more full episode reactions of the Street Fighter series, I have been doing full episodes to both Season 1 and Season 2 of Street Dance Girl Fighter. I also have a ton of content that tailors to Street Woman Fighter and Street Man Fighter, specifically certain challenges that didn't make their way to YouTube. I have all of that in a nice pretty folder called Block Content, so you can go check it out there. I also analyze a wider range of content, including D-League from Japan, which is the professional dance crew league, as well as many different types of K-pop groups, and I have quite a few marathons that are actively happening right now, as well as finished. So if you're somebody who likes to binge a lot of analysis and content, hopefully I have something that could interest you there. But if you're okay with just seeing what comes out on YouTube every day, I'm totally welcoming of that, and I always appreciate discussions on both sides. Once again, I am Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.